28th of Data Reuse Days 2025. My name is Alan Ang, the Senior Partner Manager for Wikidata at Wikimedia Deutschland. In the next hour, 4 presenters will spend 10 minutes each in a lightning talk format to talk about their project, and we will then have a joint Q&A session at the end of the 4 presentations. Without much further ado, please allow me to invite presenters Matthias and Tamiris for the project, aletheiafact.org, an open fact-checking ecosystem in Brazil. Presenters, please. Matthias and Tamiris.
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Tamiris. I am a Brazilian journalist and the co-founder of Aletheia Fact, a community-driven fact-checking platform. And I will start our presentation, and I will start with our mission. That is exactly what that opening line describes. We envision a world where fact-checking is democratized, where anyone can verify information for themselves, not just professional journalists or experts. And we are heavily inspired by the Wikimedia movement. After Mateus will talk about it. But before starting, I would like to answer a question about this topic. Why do you need to democratize fact-checking? And I will answer this topic showing a Brazilian scenario. In Brazil, as in many places, fact-checking has traditionally been concentrated in a few big media outlets. Major fact-checking agents, mostly based in Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo, have led the fight against misinformation. They do an important work, of course, but at the same time, we have a lot of late transparency. It means that the general public doesn't know how the fact-checking process works, and they don't have autonomy to participate verifying information themselves. So this is why we created Aletheia Fact in 2012, when Mateus, my partner, participated in Mozilla Open Lab in 12. Yeah, that's it. And where the idea for Aletheia was created, was born. And since the beginning, our driving goal from the start has been that any person should be able to perform a fact checker. So we have to give right tools and guidance to this general public, but we believe for real that everyone can and should be a fact checker in their own community. So we have to provide this kind of tools, and because of this, with this idea, the next year, 21, sorry, we participated in the Comprova project, a Brazilian project in a residence, where we helped develop a comprehensive fact-checking manual that remains one of the educational research we offer today. And this is one of the tools that we offer today. And then sharing a little bit of our history, in 22, we took a major step forward and formalized Aletheia as a non-profit organization and officially launched our platform just in time for the Brazilian elections. Mateus can share this story for another time, but in this point of the presentation, I want to answer, how do you make fact-checking accessible to all? And Aletheia can do this with both two sides. We can work in two sides. We are a platform and a movement, and both at the same time. But on the platform side, we built a website entirely open source and free that guides users through the fact-checking process step by step. Because of this, we are turning fact-checking into an educational experience for our users. It's an example of what we call edu-communication. It means combine education and communication to fight against the misinformation. But now I already introduced the idea, and I'm pleased to hand over to my partner and co-founder, Mateus, who will talk more about how Aletheia works and show some tools that we have developed and how we use Wikidata and other open data sources into the platform to make all this vision a reality. Thank you, and over to you, Mateus.
Thank you, Tamiris. Okay, so one of the many hats that I wear is the co-founder of aletheia.org, and but also leading technology and product in a volunteer capacity with many other volunteers in Brazil. I want to briefly talk about the product intent behind Aletheia, and then I'll talk about our reuse use cases of Wikidata and other. And I can briefly talk about any other thing if we have time. But the most important thing that is started during that whole process that Tamiris described was the intent to fact check public personalities in Brazil. It started as a dream that we could make an impact on elections and fact check speeches and claims made by public personalities. So that it is very important to understand how the product was born and why we took some decisions. But today we focus on three specific areas. We have in our minds fact checker productivity, access to credible information, and the reduction of obstacles to products. So governance models for a healthy community, and diminish the learning curve to start creating fact-checking reports. So as I mentioned, public personalities was how we started. And if you look at if you use Wikidata as a model, or even Wikipedia, we have pages that can contain information about public personalities, at least if they are notable ones. So you have a lot of information that's out there, is part of the public data infrastructure, and it's awesome. Very quickly, I'm going to talk about the reuse cases that we have. We went beyond the just looking for the public personality data, but as you can see, this is a personality page on Aletheia, and with Wikidata, we can quickly remove a lot of friction on the creation process of these pages. Just get the information from Wikidata. We can get the image from Commons as well. We can have a better visualization based on the data that we collect. And on top of that, we also have out-of-the-box internationalization for those data. So we make use of it and also display information differently. For accessing this page in English or in Portuguese, you can also have different links to access the Wikipedia page, for example. And we want to do many more, but this is what we found interesting for our first version. We also do data classification with Wikidata for the fact-checking reports and other pages or claims that we have entered into the system. And it allows us to have a better normalization of the data when we are classifying it and relying on a very well-known data set. And Wikidata enables us to focus on our own delivered value, which is our fact-checking reports, so people can actually see how the fact-checking was done, and also data insights into the fact-checking. And you can see that we use, this is a claim or a speech page where the fact-checker went and did a fact-checking report for 3 different claims that then we can use as a data to show to our users. And then I know that I speed ran a lot about on all of these, but one of the things that we hope to do with Wikidata in the future, because it's so powerful and we don't use that much, but there is a lot of potential to integrate seamlessly with social media. So public personalities in Wikidata, you can have information about a Twitter account or any other kind of social media accounts, and using that for us in order to monitor and collect information and do real-time fact-checking will be something awesome to do. And another one that I believe is one of the most, I guess, most important problems no one solved yet, but integrating fact-checking with knowledge is something we believe can be done with Wikidata. So in this example, I'm just showing that if you go on the Earth Wikidata page, Wikidata item, and get the shape property, you're going to have a lot of information, interesting information about how the debate happens for that specific knowledge. So integrating that with knowledge and then associating this with claims and make sure that we can do fact checking in real time, but also collect all of the information in the same place is one of the things that we want to do. That's it. Thanks for the attention, and please get in touch if you think this project can be useful for you as well.
Wow, this is really very awesome project. Thank you so much, Matthias and Tamiris, for sharing such a wonderful and useful project. Next up, we have the presentation of Wikidata use in KDE itinerary by presenter Volker. Volker, the floor is yours.
Okay. So Lydia had mentioned itinerary last week a few times already. I'm now going to show you how we use Wikidata in there. Just very briefly, Itinerary is a travel app where you can import your flight or train reservations, your hotel bookings, your event tickets, and so on. So you have all that information at hand while on the road. And then the app gives you information about delays on your trains or the weather forecast or at your destination and whatnot. All of that free software running locally on your device under your control. And we have a number of different uses of Wikidata in there. I grouped them a bit by how we access the data. So the first group is information that we bundle with the application, so where there is actually no online access to Wikidata at one time. That's an option for data that changes relatively rarely, so in our case, less than once a month, where the amount is manageable or where we need a specific way of indexing the data for efficient access. Examples for that are various kinds of airport and train station identifiers. So that's things we find in machine-readable parts of tickets, and where we need to know what location that actually refers to. Another thing is information about countries. So we have a feature in there that if the power sockets at your travel destination are incompatible with the power plugs that you use at home, you get a reminder to pack the corresponding adapter. So the information backing that is also taken from Wikidata in that way. The Wikidata access in that case happens via the query service, but that's once in the release process running on the developer side. So there is no actual performance problem there. A bit of the other extreme is full online access. The example for that is the map info boxes. If you go back one slide, if you look at the screenshot at the right, so that's how we get from an item on the map to the photo shown there, for example. The way this works is that OpenStreetMap, where we get the map from, the items there can have a reference to a Wikidata item. We retrieve that using the Action API, as that code predates the REST API, and then look for properties for photos or brand logos and so on. We also look at some of the more rarely used properties there, like the one for the nighttime view or the winter view. So if you look at the map at the corresponding time and there is such a photo, then you'll get that as well. And then the third kind of access is kind of a mix of both of those, which we use for logos and colors of public transport lines. That's probably the most complex use we have, so I'll focus on that for the rest of the talk. So public transport line logos and colors tend to be extremely prominent in local signage. So if we can match that in the application, that helps you a lot to find your way around also in cities that you don't know. There is, however, a lot of variety in how those logos and colors look like. So if you look at the first row here, that is the logo for subway line 1 in different German-speaking cities. And the second row is the logo for subway in general in a number of European cities. And in order to know which one we have to use, right, we need the information how that looks like in a specific city. And fortunately, Wikidata has all of that information. The challenge, however, is to find the correct item. And the main problem there is that public transport line names tend to be very short and thus highly ambiguous, probably with the exception of the London Underground. So in the extreme case, right, it's just a short number. And to make matters worse, in some cities, the same number might be used for a bus line or a tram line. So we also need to need the mode of transportation as a way to disambiguate that. And then, of course, the geographic area in which we are. In theory, all of that can be modeled in Wikidata if a line is modeled at the highest level of detail. That, however, isn't the case often enough. So in many cases, we have logos and colors and all the information we need, but not the geographic information. So what we do instead is we combine OpenStreetMap and Wikidata. Because OpenStreetMap, by its nature, always has the geographic information. And combining those two data sets is relatively straightforward because there's properties on both sides to link items. All of that information we can put into a spatial index that allows us to look up information like the colors or the logo name based on the location. And that can be stored in a very compact form. And we have that at about 100 kilobyte, and that is globally. And then the actual logo images are downloaded on demand because, for one, that is a much higher volume. And in most cases, you only need a very small subset of that. That's the theory, at least. In practice, there is, of course, all kinds of extra fun. So that list here is basically all the weird special cases and hacks I found in the code doing this. There is, of course, your modeling challenges in there. In this case, specifically the regarding the mode of transportation. That's not really specific to Wikidata. That is a very general problem in that field. It's just the lines between things like a tram or a subway or rapid transit systems are extremely blurry. Then there's all kinds of weird special cases like the San Francisco cable car or the Wuppertaler Schwebebahn. And even in cases where there is strong technical distinctions, people build hybrid systems to cross those lines as well. As already mentioned, there is different levels of detail, both on the Wikidata side and the OpenStreetMap side, that we have to deal with, which then also results in linking between Wikidata and OpenStreetMap happening on different levels of detail. Then, of course, as soon as you start to combine multiple data sets, there is the risk of conflicting information. And in our case, that can happen in basically two places. One is that the linking between Wikidata and OpenStreetMap actually refers to different things. That is fortunately very rare. The more common thing is differences in the color. And that gets you into an entirely different rabbit hole. What actually is a color and what constitutes a difference in the color? Because just two different color values doesn't automatically mean that there is an actual conflict, right? It could just be slightly different shades of the same color. But that's probably a topic for its own talk. And then there is a few issues regarding the image assets, but that's probably more comments than a Wikidata topic. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Volker, for your very interesting presentation and this project. I was just sharing that we should probably use this when we travel, so we can all enjoy the power of this application. Our third application showcase for today is the project VG List, the cross-platform video games catalog. It's a very fun project by presenter Connor or user Nice Ready. Connor, are you here? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Hopefully the screen share will work.
We can try. Yes.
There we go.
We can see your screen.
Okay.
Great.
Cool. Can you see the slideshow fine?
Yes, we can see the slideshow fine.
Cool. So I'm Connor. I created VG List. I built it starting in late 2018. It's a video game catalog, essentially for tracking, your library across PC, your Nintendo Switch, Xbox, whatever else. And the data entirely comes from Wikidata. So when I started in December 2018, I essentially needed an external data source. I wanted to create this application. I had a backlog of, hundreds of games on my Steam account. I wanted to track all of them and be able to, see like progress and make sure, I wanted a way to actually hold myself accountable for playing all these games I owned, which is a very interesting way to handle video games. But and so I needed a data source. There are various online Moby games, internet game database, Giant Bomb. There are various problems with those. Some were incomplete. For example, Moby Games only has data about games that have been released. So a game that's coming out in a month just doesn't exist in their database. There are issues with copyright where, these are companies and so they could get acquired or just decide they're going to create their own video game tracker. And so they don't want to support me anymore and I need to find a new system to use. And so I found Wikidata. I had edited Wikipedia a little bit, but not that much. And I knew vaguely of Wikidata. But I found Wikidata and it felt like, a really good solution to the problem. And, it's public domain. It's really easy to contribute back to. It's an active community, so I don't have to be the only one maintaining the data set. And then it's got a lot of linkage to other services like Steam. And so in 2019, early 2019, there were around 30 to 40,000 video game items on Wikidata. Now it's 110,000. I myself, in building VGList, did a lot of edits on Wikidata with scripts, importing data, that kind of thing. I have over 500,000 edits of Wikidata. It's mainly importing external IDs for Steam, for IGDB, etc. And then I've created 43,000 items, mainly using scripts that I've written or that other folks in the community have written. Anton on the Wikidata wiki project has been really helpful. And there are now 106,000 video games in VGList, all of them sourced from Wikidata. And so the main benefit of using Wikidata rather than building the data set myself is that I don't have to build the data set like only by myself. I have help from everyone else in the community. I have, I don't need to build out all the tools for editing. I don't need to build out all the tools for maintaining this data. And then, if I get busy with work or if I go on vacation, I don't need to worry that, I am going to come back and have, 1,000 new video games that have released in the last month that I need to go look through because other people are also working on that. The import process is pretty simple. I use Sparkle queries and the older MediaWiki Actions API. So I have Sparkle queries that essentially will just pull every video game from Wikidata and look for ones that aren't already in the VGList database. And then it'll transform that data into my own data model. It'll pull anything relevant. For example, video game platforms, it's on Xbox, it's on PlayStation, it's on Switch. Genres, it's a first-person shooter or a platformer. The developer, the publisher, the release date, et cetera, et cetera. Then I do some cleanup. I also have a block list feature. Essentially, there are some cases where an item just doesn't make sense in my data model. So, for example, in Wikidata, the Pokemon games, every time there's a new Pokemon game, there's a set of 2. So it's like Pokemon Red and Blue, Pokemon Sun and Moon. And so those are independent games, but Wikidata has an item for each independent game. So Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, but it also has one for Pokemon Red and Blue. And that's just because of how the Wikipedia articles are written generally. And so I block Pokemon Red and Blue because those are like 2 games represented as one thing. So I have various things that are blocked for niche reasons like that. But generally, like other than a handful of edge cases, I'm pretty much able to just let Wikidata and the Wiki Project video games community handle a lot of the creation of items and data maintenance. Obviously, I'm pretty hands-on with so many edits, but I don't need to like be in charge or anything. Like it's very much a community thing. I'm just a member of the community. And then I have a quick little demo of the site. Let's see, are you guys able to see? Let me into the slideshow. Are you able to see the browser?
Yes, we are able to see the browser.
So this is the VGList interface. It's just an open source Rails application. So it has pretty basic features for displaying the video game. You can favorite it, you can add it to your library, you can edit all this stuff. So I can say that I've completed this game, I can write a review of it, I can give a rating and see how many hours I've played, and that kind of thing. And so all this data, the release date, the developer, the publisher, platform genres, engines, and all these external links are all coming from Wikidata. And so I'm able to essentially use all of this data from Wikidata. And I just have scripts to import this data, and it's all handled for me. And I don't need to personally maintain 100,000 different video game records. I can rely on the rest of the community to help with that. And then as part of this, I'm able to work on features like, because I pull in external links from Steam. Steam's a game store for PC games. And so I can go into my settings, I can import games from Steam. And so it'll automatically just import all of the games that I have in my Steam profile. I have already done it, but for the most part, it already has all of the games that I own. And so it's able to show, all 880 games that I own on Steam that I've added from my Switch library, from all that other stuff. And so I'm able to write reviews, I'm able to maintain all this stuff. And then I have scripts for importing covers from the external partner or external websites like Internet Game Database, Moby Games, PC Gaming Wiki. And so a lot of that work is taken off my plate and I can just focus on the actual website itself. And that makes my life a lot easier. And I would not have been able to do this without Wikidata and the community around Wikidata. And I think that's pretty much it. I have other pages that aren't as interesting for all the other different data types that are also sourced from Wikidata. And yeah.
Wow, this is really, really interesting. Thank you so much, Connor, for sharing this wonderful project. Yeah, the gaming community is a very huge one, and also thank you for your contributions to Wikidata, Connor, because it is something that we truly appreciate the community for doing so, and for sharing such wonderful ideas as well. Thank you so much. The last presentation that we have today will be a pre-recorded video. The project is called Paulina, and the presenter will be Jorge. However, even though it's a pre-recorded video, do not worry, our presenter is around for the Q&A session after this. So, Connor, do you mind muting your mic? Okay, and with that, let me inform my colleague to play the pre-recorded video. That's great.
Hello, how are you? My name is Jorge Gemeto. I am part of Wikimedistas de Uruguay user group, and today I am going to speak about a Wikidata-based web tool called Paulina that we created to search for authors, identify the copyright status of their works in different countries, and access public domain works from Wikisource, Commons, Internet Archive, Project Gutenberg, and other sources. The tool Paulina is aimed at people from GLAM institutions, researchers, teachers, students, and every person interested in digital cultural heritage and the public domain. Let's take a look at the tool. Paulina is available at paulina.toolforge.org, and the code repository is on Wikimedia's GitLab. Paulina makes extensive use of the different APIs available for getting data from Wikidata. The app is hosted on Toolforge, and it is developed in Python using the Flask web framework and the software Babel for internationalization. This is how the home page looks. It has a search form and some clickable examples. The first thing you can do with Paulina from the home page is to search for authors and works by name or keyword. Right next to the search box, there is a selector that allows you to switch between author and work search. There are also some search filters, for example, gender and nationality for authors and type of work for works. Search functionality is achieved using the Wikidata Action API, which, as you may know, is an extended version of the MediaWiki Action API, and is being replaced by a simpler, newer alternative, the Wikidata REST API. However, search functionality in the REST API is still under development and is not yet recommended for production sites. When this functionality is available in the REST API, Paulina will start using it. As you can see in this code snippet, search filters are mostly applied using the additional keyword #WB statement. In some cases, when the filter is more complex and several search keywords are not enough to perform the task, a query is applied to the search results. Then, if you search for an author and click on one of the results, you go to the author's profile with useful information for copyright clearance, for example, nationality, date of birth and death, etc. The profile has also some links to Wikipedia, Commons, Wikisource, etc. And there is a link to Wikidata that invites you to edit the item if there is missing or wrong information. All this information is obtained mainly with the REST API through the endpoint for an item. A few fields require further data processing through a query or locally with Python. The author profile also has a button that allows you to query and obtain a list of works by the author. This is done by making a request to the Wikidata query service. At first, we considered doing this through the search functionality with the Action API using #WB statement, but the query was relatively complex and the several search keywords were not enough. If you click on a specific work, you go to the work profile, which has some relevant information for copyright clearance. Also, very importantly, when there is an online version available of the work, the profile provides the link to access the work on Wikisource, Internet Archive, Project Gutenberg, etc. As with authors, this information is obtained from the endpoint of an item in the REST API. The links to access the works are obtained through site links for Wikisource and Commons, identifiers for Internet Archive, and the property full work available at URL, which is P953. If you click on a particular copyright term, you get the list of countries that meet that condition. You can also click on one country and you will see the country's specific copyright term. For example, in this case, Uruguay, 70 years post-mortem auctories. The website has also a tab, top left, called Countries and Terms that allows you to quickly find out the copyright term of any country. All countries and terms functionalities are performed through different queries. Finally, the website is multilingual. At this moment, there are 8 languages to choose from. This is achieved by requesting data from Wikidata in each person's chosen language, in combination with the Python software package Babel. In summary, Paulina currently uses 3 methods to access Wikidata's data. First, the MediaWiki Action API to perform searches for authors and works and apply simple filters. Second, the Wikibase REST API to access the full information of individual items. And finally, the Wikidata query service to perform complex queries that are impossible to achieve with the previous methods. For those who are just getting started with Wikidata data reuse, the instructions I used for building the code to access the Action API, the REST API, and the Wikidata query service programmatically were taken from Wikidata's data access page, which is very comprehensive. Our next steps in 2025 include adding better search filters and also providing a friendly interface to edit Wikidata through Paulina. Lastly, we aim to collaborate with GLAM communities to create a more local or thematic versions of the tool if there is interest. Besides improving the tool, we are also addressing knowledge gaps and improving the information available on Wikidata about cultural heritage and the public domain. We created the wiki project Dominio Público en América Latina, available in Spanish and Portuguese, where we are systematizing which properties we can use to describe the copyright status of a work or author and the different identifiers of library catalogs in order to create or improve items of authors and works, among other things. Finally, we are modeling the information about copyright terms in different countries, starting from Latin America, including not only the general term, but also special terms for different types of works, anonymous works, collaborative works, etc. If you'd like to contribute to the project, there are several ways you can do it. You can help translate the tool to more languages. You can also request a new feature to meet a need or use case, and you can report it back. There are a lot. Finally, if you have technical skills, you can contribute code. Paulina is free software. There you have the link to the repository, and we are open to merge requests. The organizations that support the project are Artica, Creative Commons Uruguay, Data Uruguay, and Wikimedistas de Uruguay. Okay, I am back here just to say thank you and that I am open to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jorge, for your presentation, and thanks to my colleague for playing the pre-recorded video. Yes, next up we have the joint Q&A session. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand, and then I will name you to unmute. Or if you wish to type it up, please write the project name, colon, or the presenter you wish to address the question to in your chat, and I can read it out later. So yeah, the floor is open to everyone who wishes to ask questions to the 4 or 5 presenters for the 4 projects. While we're waiting for people to think about the question and to frame the question, may I start off by asking the presenters from the first project, Alenthea Fact. My question is: Are there plans to scale up this project to include countries other than Brazil? Because this looks like a very, very important project, in this age of disinformation and misinformation.
I guess my answer to that, and Tamiris can correct me if I'm wrong, but yes, there are plans. We started on Portugal, but mostly because of the academic relationship Brazil and Portugal have on the places that we have been. As an organization, we are focusing right now on creating a task force in Brazil to democratize fact-checking across universities, which will be our focus on 2025. But we are open. The platform is ready to be translated to other languages, and we look forward to have more people join us.
Wow, that's very exciting. Thank you. And definitely we hope that, as we do more outreach to the wider community about your project, more people will get to know about this, and then, more people will be attracted to this project and support as well, support and grow the project. Thank you. Anyone has any question to any of our presenters? We have a question from Lydia for everyone. Anything curious or wow you stumbled upon while building your application? This is for all our presenters. Are there anything curious or wow you stumbled upon while building your application? Yes, Connor, you wish to respond to Lydia's question? Yes.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted. We can hear you.
Okay, great. The most interesting thing I've found was a specific Wikidata item. There's an old game from, I think, 2001 or something. There was a Wikipedia article created for it in 2004. There are 2 versions of it, one European and one in the UK. It's called like Casino Royale and Casino something else. essentially they were duplicates. It was a duplicated Wikipedia article that had existed for about 20 years when I discovered it. And so I had just found it while working on the project and discovered that there was a duplicate Wikipedia article for 20 years that no one had realized, just because of weird issues with having different names in different regions.
Wow, interesting. Thank you.
So I have one social aspect of
Yes.
our application, which is creating new items in Wikidata. So our community didn't have experience with the Wikimedia community before, and when trying to add new personalities, learned a lot about the policies that we have about notability and other things. So for a few of the personalities we want to fact check, we didn't have a Wikidata entry, and it caused some friction. We even considered for things that are not possible for the movement to enter on Wikidata to have a Wikibase standalone server, but that's still like we're still thinking about it.
Thank you, Matthias, for responding to this. Very interesting to think about having a Wikibase instance. Anyone else, presenters, would like to respond to the question of anything curious or wow you stumbled upon while building an application?
Yeah, I think one of the most surprising things we found while trying to list public transport lines was certain amusement rides in Disneyland are technically also railways. So we have a special code that filters out that stuff.
Well, this is really fun. Yeah, that's true. Because the amusement parks, they also have their own rails and everything. Yeah, this is true. Thank you for sharing.
Well,
yes.
No, yes, just for fun. When designing the queries about the works from an author, we use some properties like the author or creator, and there are not just works that have authors or creators. So in some cases, some items shown as works of author were some funny things, like, for example, some funny phrases from a person from so then we refine more the query for that.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Thank you for sharing, Jorge. Anybody else have any questions for our presenters? Otherwise, I've got one question for Connor. Just a quick one regarding the covers for the games, right? In VGList, I understand they're not sourced from Wikimedia Commons for licensing reasons or for rightful reasons. What if there are games without covers on VGList? Because some of my games that I've seen there, that I like, they do not have a cover, So, can the community actually link a cover to it, or how do you resolve this cover issue?
Yeah, the covers are mainly sourced from one of Internet Game Database, PC Gaming Wiki, or Moby Games. So the easiest way is probably to go to the Internet Game Database website and contribute it there. And then it'll just be pulled in the next time I run an import, which I do every couple weeks. You can upload from the interface, but I've limited that to just admins, just to avoid vandalism and things.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? I'll just count to 5 seconds in my head. Otherwise, we can take a break before the next session. No? Yes? Okay, great. Thank you to all the presenters for sharing your wonderful projects as well as contributing to Wikidata, and reusing Wikidata's data, in your projects to share with the rest of the world. We are very thankful for the hard work, as well as the efforts at being here today as well to talk about it. So also a big thank you to the participants for your attention and also, asking questions. So if you have any further questions outside of this event, you can just reach out to the presenters later on. They have left their contacts, and they'll be happy to address some of the questions that you may have. So before we go off, I just want to remind that in the 9 minutes from now, there'll be the next session called Scribe and Wikidata Dump Lexeme Extraction, sorry, by speakers Andrew and Gautam. So please stay tuned, and I will see you all in 9 minutes time. Have a nice day or evening. See you shortly. Hello, Gautam. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Are you here?
Yes.
Did I pronounce your name correctly? I hope I do. I did, right?
Yeah, it was correct.
Okay, great. Will you of day 8 of Data Reuse Days 2025. In the next following sessions, we are very excited to present the project Scribe, Wikidata language, learning keyboards, and Lexeme extraction by presenters Andrew and Gautam. Without much further ado, Andrew, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Great to see everyone again. I'll share screen. There's going to be a bunch of jumping around today because we're doing multiple demos. So you're going to see iOS and Android and everything. So I'm sorry for people who might get a little bit of whiplash from the switching. Scribe, Wikidata language learning keyboards, and Lexeme extraction. We have a third speaker today as well. Asif is our outreachy intern right now who expressed interest in wanting to give a presentation with us. So we thought that this would be great. Along with myself is Gautam today, who's the maintainer of the Scribe Android project. And then my name is Andrew. I'm the initiator of the Scribe project. I'm also a data analyst at Wikimedia Deutschland, but I am here on my private time right now. Awesome, thanks, Alan. So schedule for today, we're going to give a quick introduction to the community, the Scribe community. From there, we'll go directly into a Scribe iOS demo so that you can understand what it is that we're talking about for language learning keyboards that are based on Wikidata. Afterwards, we will look at the Scribe Android project that Gautam has been working on for a long time at this point and has really been doing a great job. We're getting close to a release for this. After that, we'll talk about the Scribe data process, which is how the Scribe community gets data from Wikidata for our applications. Hopefully at the end, we'll have, say, 10 or so minutes for Q&A. So quick thing about our community. So the big things for the Scribe community are we are open source, open data, and also just an open community in general for anybody who wants to join. We're talking okay. We're talking today about keyboards for second language learners at the very beginning of this. So what it is that we mean by that is that if we say the German Scribe keyboard, this is not a German keyboard for a German native language speaker. It's more for somebody who is a second language speaker of German. Same for the Scribe French keyboard is also for a French second language speaker, et cetera, et cetera. These language keyboards can help with various things like noun genders. In German, we have 3, and it gets very, very confusing. It can help you conjugate verbs in any app translation. So you can translate within any app that you're using your keyboard in. We'll be seeing this later on. The Scribe keyboard applications are available in all of these languages right here. So we are expanding fairly well. Along with our keyboard applications, we also have the Scribe data process, which I talked to you about already. We'll be going through this a little bit later on in the presentation to show how we get data from Wikidata. And just quick little things on the community. We're a Wikimedia featured project for new developers. So if you are new to the Wikimedia infrastructure, it would be great to work with you. If you do have interest, we have a community. We do our communication on Matrix, and you're free to join us for our bi-weekly calls that we do on Saturday for the community. Let's jump right into the Scribe iOS demo so that we can understand what it is that we're talking about here. So maybe we can do it like this. So this is the Scribe application, which isn't actually the application that it's kind of the holder of the application, because the real thing is the keyboards themselves. The big thing for this application is that you have the directions for how to install the keyboards, which I'll give a demo of later on. We have settings for the keyboards. Sorry for that was. And we can come in, and there are individual settings for every single keyboard. Say that you have French or German or other keyboards, you can set different settings for each of them. And then we also have, say, information about our community if you would like to discover things about us. The big thing, though, is the keyboard. So say that we go over to another app, say our messaging app, and then within our messaging app, this is a Scribe keyboard. So this is the German Scribe keyboard. As I was saying, there are various things that Scribe can help you with. Say that we are a German second language speaker and we're typing the word Buch. which is the German word for book. Right afterwards, it will tell us that this is a neutral noun. In the similar way that we will type the German word for woman, which is Frau, and then it will show us that this is a feminine noun. Similarly for, say, the German word for man, you'll actually see at this point that Scribe in the later versions of it is actually telling us what the gender of all of these auto-suggestions is as we go. So mar is neutral, mare is the plural of it, is plural. So let's finish this right here. Along with this, so this is the basics of the Scribe annotation, just to kind of help the second language learner communicate. But we also have the Scribe key up here at the top left of the keyboard. We click this key right here, and we get three options, three commands that the user can use. We have what is it? Übersetzen, conjugieren in plural. This is German for translate, conjugate, and plural. The simplest of it is the plural command. We can come in here and say that we don't know what the plural of book is in German. In German, sometimes plurals can be a little bit tough. It's not like in English where you just add an S. So we basically just type Buch in right here, execute the command, and then we see that this is the plural for the German word book. Along with this, we can also do translation. We switch over to an English keyboard for this. With the next release of Scribe iOS, we'll actually be able to translate from any other Scribe language. So you'll be able to translate from Spanish, from French, any other ones. Let's do a quick translation again of the English word book. Returns the noun. This will also actually be, as of right now, this is machine translations. We do want this to be Wikidata based in the future. And just to show the final command that we have, conjugate, say that we want to conjugate the verb to go in German. We execute the command, the keyboard shifts over to our conjugation views that we remember from our language classes. And then we can actually come through and past tense for the verb to go, ich ging. So this is Scribe iOS. Let's now jump back. I'll actually not go into the presentation again, but let's switch over to the Scribe Android demo, and Gautam will be doing this for us. So here is this. Gautam, feel free.
I'll tell you the current state of the Android application. So we have the in-app menus, which are completely done. And we have app hints, which helps the user get to know about the specific page. We have sub-menus as well.
And then let's switch over to the keyboard. 1 second, if I can. Okay, and
so currently within the keyboard, we have gender suggestions for neutral words, female as well as male words as well. Also, we have suggestions for words which have multiple types as well within the app. We also have emojis, which are based on the previous last word. And then we have one functionality which is implemented, which is the plural, which gives the plural of a specific word.
All right there. Making good progress, long story short. Thank you so much, Gautam. And also just, I mean, I've said this countless times, but like Gautam has been I mean, we have a good community around Scribe Android right now, but Scribe Android is where it is today because of Gautam. Really amazing work. Let's continue on and we'll jump into Scribe data. I will share again. And Asif, do you want to tell us a little bit about Scribe data?
Yeah, hello, I'm Asif. So Scribe data, Wikidata process is a tool for querying Wikidata query service across over 40 languages, such as retrieving Lexeme forms like German nouns or French verbs. So here it supports offline parsing using Wikidata Lexeme dump to ensure data retrieval without overloading the Wiki query service. So also it is a Python package with user-friendly interactive CLI. So our three main commands are total, get, and interactive mode. So in the first command, total, for German and nouns, we get total number of lexemes for only German and nouns. So in the second command, to get all available forms in Wikidata for French and verbs, so it returns JSON output. So finally, the third command, in interactive mode, we need to select commands like get, total, or convert. So and for this, we need to put languages or data types, and after executing all our and after executing the command, we can get our expected JSON output, and we can modify it later on SQLite or another type we want. So Scribe server API is coming later in this year. So we can get the data from ToolForge actually.
Yeah, so this is, we have the plan of also specifically, if you don't want to run Scribe data yourself and you just want to use our data packs, then we will set up an API for you to get the data directly. That's an ongoing process that Asif is also working on as a part of Outreachy, as with Gautam, amazing work over the last couple of months. So let's just show you really quickly. Again, sorry for all of the screen switching. As of right now, I'm within, maybe it's a little bit small. This is probably good. So we're within Scribe data right now, and basically what this process is doing right now, this is, say, the short form of the command get. So Scribe data get -a is all. So we're basically telling the service that we want to be getting all of the data from Wikidata, specifically for the Wikidata query service, to make sure that everything is fine and we're not running tons and tons of Wikidata, say, Sparkle queries against the query service. You cannot run get all on the query service. If you want to get all of the data from all of the lexemes on Wikidata, you have to use a dump. So this functionality is actually disabled for the CLI to make sure that we're responsible users. So get all data right here. And then we have the Wikidata dump path is basically just saying check for the default path of a Wikidata dump. And then for this, we're also going to be overriding the data that we already have, because I have some Scribe data JSON export right here. So let's run the commands. Basically from here, languages to process, Arabic, Basque, Bengali, all of these that we have right here. We're basically implementing any languages that have a lot of lexemes on Wikidata. You can see the interactive parts of the CLI as well. So it's giving us some options down here. So delete existing dumps. That would allow us to get a new dump, the most recent dump. We would skip the download, or we can use the existing latest dump that I have locally on my computer. And then basically, this is a surprisingly fast parsing process that we're actually going through here. And this is going through the Wikidata dump and getting all of the German nouns, French verbs, all of the various language data type packs. Just kind of going through the package itself. We have the CLI functionality right here that has what Asif was talking about, the total functionality, the get functionality, and the interactive mode right here. And then we also, as we were saying before, also have all of the queries that at this point we're also generating from the dump. So we can come in here and then we can see language data extraction. We're currently at 44% going through our dump right now. And we have German, and then we can come in here, nouns, and then this is right here a query for German nouns. We need to split this up because there's so many German nouns, but here it is, nominative plural. We can come into French and we can go into the verbs, and here's one part of the French verbs query, etc., etc., etc. So this is basically like we have the dump as kind of like what it is that we would suggest the community needs, but say that there's like a problem with the data on Wikidata, and then there's a quick correction and the person needs to get new data. We basically also provide the ability to use the query service in that case, that there's new data that you want to be able to run. Let me just say cancel this right here, just so that we are, there's a long output there. And then we can basically just come in and look at the responses for this. So within all of this, we have all of our various language files. And then within here, German nouns, and this is a giant JSON with all of the various things. So we have nominative plural, genitive singular, nominative singular, and all of the various data from Wikidata. Again, kind of the goal that we've had with this project for the longest time is that we want to actually have Scribe data be something that's not just for the Scribe community, but it's for anybody who wants to use Wikidata language data. They can use our tools to extract the data, and then Scribe server will come on top of that. If you don't want to extract the data yourself, we will provide an API in order for you to get it directly. So that's Scribe data in 3-4 minutes, I guess. Aside from that, that's kind of what it is that we had planned for today, because we wanted to leave some time for questions that anybody might have. So that was the Scribe data demo, and this finishes the presentation. We'd love to get some questions, comments, if people have ideas for things. If you'd like to contact any of the three of us, you have our GitHub handles, or you can contact me at this email here. And if you're interested in joining the Scribe community or seeing our code bases, this is a QR code for Scribe.org on GitHub if you would like to join us. Thanks everyone so much.
Wow. Thank you, Andrew, Gautam, and Asif, for your wonderful presentation and sharing of this wonderful project. A big thank you. I wish this project was already started 10 years ago. So when I was learning German. It is indeed a very difficult language to learn for non-German speakers. Yes, any questions from the audience? Feel free to raise your hand or type them out in the chat, and I will read them out for our presenters. No, while our participants are thinking of questions, maybe I have one very probably a generic question. What is the roadmap for this project? In the next, I think 6 months to 1 year or so. Is there an idea of do you want to have more languages? Do you want to have I don't know, just where do you see this going to be the next 6 months to 1 year time?
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that we're kind of planning. I mean, again, the server project is one thing. The big thing is that we need to get the Android app out. So like that, this is like Gautam and I actually did a call over the weekend where we basically just went through and like compared the iOS and the Android app right next to one another. And we made, like 20 GitHub issues that are like small little issues that are the last things that need to be done in order to finish the project. So this is like priority number one for us, is finishing the Android app. And aside from that, we're going to make a website for ourselves if anybody wants to do some view coding. And I guess another thing that we haven't really talked to the Wikidata community about is we do have the idea of basically the Scribe application is pretty complex and all of this. And we had the idea that our data can be used for a very simple application, which is just a verb conjugation application. Which is another one that a lot of people use, but then your normal verb conjugation application is, has a bunch of ads, or is something that you need to pay for, or whatever it is. And it was just kind of the idea that the community had of like, let's make this very, very simple application. Let's use open data to do it. And let's, advertise Wikidata and all of the great work that you all are doing with this application to just have it be another piece of the linked open data infrastructure to show what people can build with it. So that's probably something that would appeal to a wider audience. And we're kind of excited to see, what comes of that.
Oh, thank you. This is really, really awesome. Anyone else has any question for our presenters of the Scribe project? Otherwise, I've got one more question. Are there emojis in the iOS app?
There are emojis in the iOS app as well. I just didn't. We wanted to make sure that there was, we were showing various.
Okay, thank you. So Lydia has a question. Are there languages people are asking for a lot?
My joke right now is Indonesian, but because you asked for that, Lydia. I would say for right now, there isn't any actually specifically there is one, because we've yet to release Scribe 4.0, which is the one where we start with translation from languages that are not English. Is the big feature that's coming out with that. And then because of this, we have not released an English keyboard up until this time. And this has been the big keyboard that people have always been asking for, of like, where's the English one? But then it didn't really make sense to do an English keyboard where the translation functionality is English to English. It just didn't make sense. So now that we have the translation functionality working for any language, we'll be releasing the English keyboard in, that should be done in a month, something like that, for the 4.0 of Scribe iOS.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. I can imagine it must be quite hard to, decide what languages to work on, and because there's so many languages in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I'm trying to think which are the ones. We have started working on some keyboards as well. There's like base work done within Scribe iOS that's kind of like the base logic for it, and we're not done with other parts, but we are working on Danish and Norwegian are two languages that we're working on as well, just because there's so much Wikidata information for Danish and Norwegian that it just kind of made sense to start working on those.
Okay, thank you. So when it's okay, I just make sure no one is going to ask any more question, because I'm really, really interested in this particular project as well. Anybody has any question? No? Okay, maybe I just pop in one last question while everyone else is thinking of their own question. So just a quick one. So you mentioned earlier on that the amount of information of Wikidata is also a consideration for deciding on which language to use. So which comes first, the amount of data on Wikidata, or the user requests that I would prefer to have Finnish, for example, or prefer to have like Norwegian, for example, or Swedish?
Up until this time, it's been a bit more what people are actually asking for things. And we've talked about this within the Wikidata community for Scribe presentations in the past, that it's the Scribe community has all of the confidence in the world in Wikidata that even if the data is not there right now, that it will eventually be there. So it's just one of those things that when I started the project 3 years ago, something like this, French had 2 verbs that had conjugations, and now there's 4,000, something like that. Or similarly, Italian didn't have very good verb coverage, or Spanish didn't have very good verb coverage, and now all of those languages have exploded over the last couple of years. So the focus was more like, what languages are people interested in at the beginning? Now for some of these things, like we already have Swedish, so that kind of drove us towards like Danish and Norwegian are maybe a little bit easier to work on. Was there another question?
Yes, thank you, Andrew. There's another question by A Korea. How the keyboard keys and available diacritics are decided for each language?
A lot of looking at the system keyboard for the given. It's a lot of, you're just looking at the system keyboard for this looks like this. So we're trying. I mean, the overall goal for Scribe keyboards is we're trying to just take the system keyboard for that language and add the functionality that you see at the top. That's the overall goal. We did for like iPad size keyboards and like tablet size keyboards for the Android app. We are not necessarily going through and doing it exactly for every single one of them, because like a full size keyboard, we also want to make sure that the interface is a little bit consistent, so it's easier for us to maintain.
Thank you, Andrew, for your response. Yeah, that's a great appreciation from our participant who asked the question. So, any more questions for the Scribe team today? I'm just counting down 5 seconds in my head. No? If not, thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Gotham and Asif. Oh, sorry, hang on. There's one more response or question by F. Newson saying, I'm wondering about your dependencies for Scribe data, example, Pandas, Scribe.
SciPy. I mean, I only saw it a little bit, but I mean, we can do. Let me read it out really quick for the dependencies. Specifically, I mean, some of this is not necessarily important. The big one, Sparkle wrapper. So, like, if we're actually doing the queries to the Wikidata query service, those are being powered completely by, like this. It would be so hard to do this without Sparkle wrapper. That's an amazing project. Aside from that, yeah, Pandas is in there. TQDM for progress bars. And then there are a couple of other things for like questionary for like the interactive mode of the CLI, some of these things. General data analytics dependencies plus CLI kind of interactive mode dependencies.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
So we have about 3 more minutes before our session ends. So if anyone has any question, feel free to jump right in right now. Otherwise, we will be ending the session for today. Yes? No? Okay. Yeah. In that case, thank you very much, presenters. Thank you very much, Andrew, Gotham, and Asif, for your wonderful presentation and sharing of the Scribe project. A big thank you to all the participants for taking time off to join us and also asking very insightful questions and having a lively discussion. With that, that is the end of day 8 of Data Reuse Days for today. So I wish you all a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, wherever you are, and see you tomorrow for the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.